If you've ever wondered what it looks like when a franchise starts panicking not because their quarterback is failing, but because he's succeeding too fast, look no further than Cleveland. Something strange is happening behind closed doors. A rookie QB is quietly outshining the veterans, earning the respect of the locker room and making believers out of skeptics. And instead of celebrating that breakout moment, the Browns are stalling. Because the story here isn't just about talent, it's about fear. Fear of making the wrong call, fear of admitting a mistake, fear that the best quarterback on the roster might be the one they never meant to draft. And the longer they hesitate, the more explosive this situation becomes. Because this isn't a training camp story anymore, this is a full-blown organizational identity crisis. And at the center of it all is Shedeur Sanders. When Shedeur Sanders walked into training camp, nobody expected a storm. The Browns had a plan: develop him quietly, ease him in, keep the noise low. But from day one, the energy shifted. It wasn't just the flashes on the field. It was the way conversations changed behind the scenes. Coaches noticed it, teammates felt it, and execs, the ones who barely signed off on drafting him, started whispering about what they were seeing. Instead of a raw prospect needing time, Sanders showed up polished, calm in the pocket, fast on his reads, surgical in red zone drills. And maybe most importantly, he didn't act like a rookie. He didn't flinch in pressure situations, didn't wilt under expectations. He came in acting like someone who belonged. And that's where things got complicated. Nobody inside the building wanted a competition. There was a depth chart already drawn in Sharpie, a plan already in motion. But Shedeur didn't care about any of that. He wasn't loud. He wasn't demanding headlines. He just performed. Clean pocket, first down, broken play, improvised strike, 2-minute drill, ice-cold execution. Every rep he took blurred the line between developmental QB and undeniable starter. And with every quiet success, something underneath the surface cracked. It became obvious. This wasn't just development, it was disruption. Because when the future looks better than the present, people in power start getting uncomfortable. And in Cleveland, uncomfortable quickly turns to chaos. But as the front office tiptoed, the coaching staff started splitting. Because behind the locker room doors, not everyone agreed on what came next. Inside the staff meetings, things aren't just tense, they're divided. On one end, you've got newly promoted offensive coordinator Mike Geller. Young, ambitious, and carrying just enough job insecurity to make bold moves. To Geller, Shedeur is a gift. A clean slate. A perfect opportunity to spark a stale offense with motion-based packages, quick reads, and high IQ decision-making. Behind the scenes, he's already adjusting the playbook quietly, stitching in RPOs, rollout concepts, and fast tempo sets designed around Sanders' strengths. But here's the problem. Geller's not the one calling the final shots. Head coach Kevin Stefanski is standing on the opposite side of the chessboard. And if there's one thing Stefanski's learned during his roller coaster tenure in Cleveland, it's that naming a rookie quarterback mid-season is the fastest way to light your own seat on fire. He's been down that road before. Burned by backlash, second-guessed by the media, doubted by ownership. He's not eager to gamble again, especially not on someone who wasn't even part of the main draft plan. That's the standoff. One coach sees a golden opportunity, the other sees a career-threatening risk. And right in the middle of that tug-of-war is Sanders, quietly dominating practice reps while pretending like he doesn't hear the whispers. But everyone hears them. The assistants, the players, even the media starting to circle around camp like vultures. And if you think this internal split is only happening behind closed doors, just wait, because soon, the locker room starts picking a side too, and that changes everything. While the coaching staff plays tug-of-war upstairs, down on the field, Shedeur Sanders is just working. No theatrics, no ego. Just a quarterback who shows up earlier than everyone else, gets more reps than anyone else, and stays on the field long after practice ends. And he's not throwing to star receivers. He's out there every morning grinding with fringe guys, the ones who won't even crack the final 53-man roster. Someone on staff even joked, he's building chemistry with people who might be bagging groceries by Thanksgiving. Funny thing is, they weren't really joking. That humility, that obsession, it's not normal. Especially for a rookie with a famous last name and every reason to place himself above the grind. But that's the problem for Cleveland. He's doing everything right. The leadership, the film study, the attitude, he checks every box. And with each quiet act of maturity, with every perfectly placed ball during meaningless reps, Sanders isn't just outperforming other quarterbacks, he's outperforming expectations. And that's where the tension starts twisting into something darker. Because the guys upstairs, some of them didn't even want him here. Shedeur wasn't part of a strategic draft plan. His name wasn't circled in red ink by the senior scouts. In fact, insiders say his tape came up through a private scout, independently, quietly, without the political trail most prospects carry. It found its way to GM Andrew Berry. And once he saw the IQ, the poise, the upside, he told the front office to buckle up. He didn't want hype, he wanted proof. Now, that proof is lighting up training camp. And the proof is becoming a threat. Here's where it gets really messy. Shedeur Sanders was never meant to be a centerpiece. In fact, some in the Browns scouting department flat out ignored him. Multiple reports say that the team's senior VP of player personnel didn't even include Sanders in their top 5 QB evals before the draft. He wasn't on the board during key meetings because he wasn't supposed to be their guy. So how did he end up in that orange and brown jersey? According to insiders, one private scout had been tracking Sanders independently. No politics, no agenda, just tape study. He pushed the footage up the chain with a quiet warning, "This kid's different," GM Andrew Berry watched. And immediately, he saw it field vision, tempo control, elite poise under pressure, and a command of the offense you don't teach. Berry didn't broadcast it. He didn't run a PR campaign. He sent a message down the line, "Get ready. We might have found something we didn't plan for." And now here they are. The guy nobody wanted to talk about is forcing everyone to have every conversation all at once. The analytics department? They're buzzing running camp data, pressure stats, red zone metrics. Every number says Shedeur is outperforming every QB on the roster. But the old school evaluators? The film-first lifers? They're waving red flags and muttering about camp flash. What's happening inside Cleveland isn't evaluation. It's survival. The debate isn't just about talent, it's about ideology. New versus old, data versus instinct, vision versus fear. And while those sides duke it out upstairs, the locker room is already choosing its quarterback. What they do next could split the entire building in half. If there's one place on a football team where the truth always leaks first, it's the locker room. Players know before the press does. They see who's built for it, who really has control of the huddle. And right now, the Browns players are watching Shedeur Sanders. And they're not just impressed, they're backing him. Not publicly, not in interviews, but you'd have to be blind not to see it. Look at practice footage. Look at who's staying after hours to get extra reps with him. It's not the third-string long shots begging for attention, it's the starters, veteran wideouts, linemen with years of experience, guys who know exactly what QB chemistry means to their own production. Reports say one lineman summed it up like this: "He talks to us, actually talks. He asks questions about protections, learns our hand signals, adjusts to our timing. That ain't a developmental guy, that's a quarterback." And when that sentiment starts spreading across a locker room, it's dangerous not for the team, but for the status quo. Because every snap Sanders takes that ends in a first down is another blow to the narrative upstairs. It's a message: you were wrong. Wrong about his readiness. Wrong about the timeline. Wrong about the idea that the locker room wouldn't rally behind a rookie who came in like a pro. That's what has the leadership sweating. They don't just see a young QB catching fire. They see ownership of the team shifting play by play, quietly, steadily to someone they never planned to crown. And whatever side you're on, that shift can't be ignored much longer. Because outside the building, another team already sees what the Browns won't, and they're ready to pounce. While the Browns drag their feet, the New Orleans Saints have been quietly watching and waiting. And not from the sidelines. Multiple insiders confirm the Saints have approached the Browns front office not once, not twice, but 3 separate times with trade offers for Shedeur Sanders. Each proposal, just a little sweeter than the last. And while none of the deals have been accepted, they've absolutely been discussed. In one internal meeting, a Browns executive reportedly dropped a line that still hasn't left the building. "If we're not going to start him, why are we holding him hostage?" That's not the kind of thing you say about a third-string rookie. That's the kind of thing you say when someone knows exactly what they have and is terrified to admit it. Because here's the kicker. The Saints aren't just randomly interested. They've already installed offensive packages designed for a mobile cerebral quarterback. They've got a veteran O-line, a top-tier receiver room, dome conditions, and a coaching staff still chasing redemption from the post-Drew Brees disaster years. This isn't speculation. This is preparation. I mean, think about it. A fan base desperate for a new identity. A franchise sick of filling in the blanks with has-beens and backups. Add Shedeur Sanders to that situation and boom! Identity restored, jersey sales spike. National buzz returns, culture shifts. The Saints are already gearing up like it's a done deal, like Sanders is their future. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, they ordered chaos, and now they're scared of what showed up. And if they keep stalling, Shedeur might not just walk away, he might walk straight into a revenge arc. Let's say the Browns finally cave. The pressure gets too loud. Jimmy Haslam wants to avoid bad press, the front office wants narrative control, and the coaching staff wants to stop babysitting an internal fire they can't put out. So they trade Shedeur Sanders. He gets on a plane. A press release goes out. Maybe someone mutters best of luck as he leaves the facility. And that's when everything falls apart. Not in some loud headline-grabbing blow-up, but in the quiet, corrosive way that kills teams from the inside. The first domino, buy-in disappears. Veterans who stayed late to build connection with Sanders start questioning their own future. Not because they were tied to the quarterback, but because now they realize effort doesn't equal opportunity. What's the point in grinding, leading, mentoring if the guy who did all of that just got sent out the back door? Suddenly, it's not about football anymore. It's about trust, culture, direction. Young players watch the move and get the message loud and clear. It doesn't matter how good you are if they didn't handpick you, you're expendable. Morale drops. Locker room trust erodes. Power struggles intensify. Meanwhile, down in New Orleans? Fireworks. Within hours, Sanders is the face of a franchise rebirth. Fans rally. Analysts celebrate the steal. Within weeks, he's running with the starters and lighting up practice. The staff that took a calculated risk now looks like visionaries. They believe in him. They back him. And that belief brings out the best. He plays loose, confident, free. And every touchdown he throws becomes another scar on Cleveland's already shredded reputation. Because the criticism won't be subtle, it'll be loud. Why didn't they keep him? Why did they give up on him before he even got a chance? What are the Browns doing again? And just like that, they're living a nightmare they created with their own hands. A quarterback who did everything right but was punished for doing it quietly. It wouldn't just be a trade, it would be an indictment. And every Sunday, Shedeur thrives in a Saints jersey. Cleveland fans will remember exactly who let him go. Here's the wild part. It's not too late. Cleveland hasn't blown it yet. Shedeur Sanders is still on the roster. He's still suiting up, still walking into the facility every morning with his head down, headphones on, locked in like it's game day. Still throwing strikes in practice, dapping up teammates, mentoring rookies, and taking notes like an understudy instead of the guy lighting it up in real time. We're used to young players melting down in situations like this, dropping cryptic Instagram posts, subtweeting coaches, leaking frustrations through sources close to the player. But Shedeur? Nothing. No drama, no whining, just ball. All he's asking for is a shot, not to be named the starter, not to leapfrog the veterans. Just a fair evaluation, real reps, a chance to prove it on the field, not on spreadsheets and politics. And here's where Cleveland still has control. They can change the story. Tomorrow, give him first-team reps. Let him run with the starters for a full week. Let the film speak. What's the worst-case scenario? That he's not ready yet? Fine. Then develop him the right way with intention this time, not hesitation. But if he performs like everyone inside the building says he's performing, then the Browns aren't looking at a quarterback controversy. They're looking at a quarterback future. A young leader who already has the locker room, who understands the offense, who's coachable, driven, and earning respect without demanding it. And if they pull the trigger based on what he's shown, not where he was drafted, they might finally build a culture that rewards performance over politics. They didn't expect this breakout, but they got it. The only question now is, do they believe what they're seeing or do they hide from it? Because right now, Shedeur Sanders is giving them a winning hand, and if Cleveland folds out of fear, they won't just lose a quarterback, they'll lose credibility. By now, it's obvious this story isn't just about Shedeur Sanders, it's about what he shines a light on. The Cleveland Browns, A franchise that's been chasing stability for decades and seems terrified of what it actually looks like up close. A team that says it wants change, but hesitates the moment change walks through the door, wearing cleats and throwing perfect out routes in camp. Because this is way bigger than a QB depth chart. It's about identity, direction, vision. The Browns have tried everything: high draft picks, flashy trades, bridge QBs, stopgaps, media hype, wait-and-see strategies. Nothing's worked long-term, nothing's stuck. And now, for the first time in years, they might actually have something real. They've got a rookie who shows up first, leaves last, studies film like a vet, earns teammates' respect without forcing it, and still takes every snap like he's got something to prove. That's not luck. That's rare. But instead of leaning into it, the franchise is hesitating. Not because he's failing, but because his success wasn't planned. Because the guy showing up like a franchise QB wasn't on their franchise blueprint. And that's the core of Cleveland's problem. They'd rather be right than win. They talk legacy, but they're haunted by mistakes, paralyzed by draft busts, bad decisions, and ownership egos too fragile to admit when something unexpected actually works. And yet, here's Shedeur Sanders, standing right in front of them, quietly undoing years of dysfunction with leadership, patience, and production. And still, no decision. The easy thing would be to drag it out. Trade him. Reset the clock. Tell fans, it just wasn't the right fit. But the right fit is right there, and everyone can see it. All the Browns have to do, for once, is get out of their own way. Because if they hand this kid over to another team, if they pass the torch without ever letting him light it, then yeah, the story won't be about what they lost. It'll be about what they were too proud to keep. And when that happens, don't blame Shedeur. Blame Cleveland.